Hi, Maven Eloise. It's Gaga. And today I'm going to read two books by Kevin Henkes. One is called Chrysanthemum, and one is called Sheila the Brave. We talked about it when we had FaceTime recently while you were in New Mexico. So then Grace reminded me that he wrote another terrific book called Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. I don't know if you've read that one. And there's a new one called Waiting. So I think when Lily's Purple Plastic Purse comes, I'll do that one and Waiting together. So Mr. Elephant is here today. He's Maeve's favorite color. But I'm pretty sure you know how to make his noise, don't you? He trumpets. He's a good trumpeter. He's a jelly cat. You can see on his tag. And he's got a cute little tag on the back, too, by his little tail. So, without further ado, let's have a story. All right, I'm going to turn around now. Now, I have to move my camera down just a little bit so that I can put the book in front of it. Oh, here's the other books we have. So this one, Matt and Natalie got for me to read to you when they went to the Nassau County Museum of Art. We looked at these the other day. Here's Eloise. In the back is Sheila the Brave. Frozen, the 5-minute stories, is just back over there. This is the big Eloise one. Here's Winnie the Pooh's tales. And Waiting is right there in the back. So, and those are Grace's beautiful flowers still. Okay, so here's a great story. Let's make sure you can see the whole page. So let me just adjust my camera. I think that's good. Chrysanthemum by Kevin Henkes. This is the girl who looks like a mouse, whose name is Chrysanthemum. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Wonky, let me fix it. Okay, that's better. Okay. That was a little wonky, sorry. "Her name must be everything she is," said her mother. "Her name must be absolutely perfect," said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Look at that. Even her chrysanthemums on her blanket. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. Look at all the things that she can do. Chrysanthemum when she was learning how to crawl. Chrysanthemum when she was learning how to sit in a high chair and eat with a spoon. Chrysanthemum when she was standing up to walk, going down the slide, riding a nifty bicycle, taking a bath by herself, sitting and reading a book, going to school, getting ready to go to school, and deciding that, yes, I love my name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner, "Chrysanthemum." And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum." Chrysanthemum loved the way it looked when it was written in ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day of school, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. "Hooray," said Chrysanthemum. "School!" But when Mrs. Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. This is Mrs. Chudd. And here are the kids. Don and Eve, Lois, Al, Les, Kay, Max, Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Ken, Joe, Rita, Victoria, Chrysanthemum. "It's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on your name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "You're named after a flower." Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. "That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet," Victoria explained. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now, put your head down." "If I had a name like yours, I'd change it," Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. "I wish I could," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag. And I'm named after a flower." "Oh, psh," said her mother. "Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome," said her father. "Why, it's everything you are," said her mother. "Absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she traced in the dirt. "She even looks like a flower," said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. "Let's pick her," said Rita, pointing. "Let's smell her," said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. "Oh, those kids are not very nice. I don't like it." The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now, put your head down." "I cannot believe your name. I just cannot believe it," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, psh," said her mother. "They're just jealous." "And envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced," said her father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said her mother. "After all," said her father, "it's absolutely perfect." Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, which was chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That must be her favorite game. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and all of her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Fa la 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 la. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. What is so humorous? Asked Miss Twinkle. Chrysanthemum, was the answer. Her name is so long, it scarcely fits on her name tag. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is? Said Jo. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would? Said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are? Said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she bloomed, she beamed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Jo, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Jo. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it was absolutely perfect. Epilogue. This is what happened after the story finished. Overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire Dance of the Flowers. And eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl. And of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. So I hope you liked that one. I really like to say chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. So practice. So when it's, if you watch it more than one time, you can get to say it too. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Okay, time for Sheila Ray the Brave. Let me reach over and get it. There it is. Let's put Chrysanthemum up there in the background so you can see it again another time. Okay, so this is Sheila Ray the Brave. I haven't read this one in a while, so let's see how it goes. Sheila Ray the Brave by Kevin Henkes. And he dedicated it to somebody named Gretchen, for Gretchen. That's the dedication page. Sheila Ray wasn't afraid of anything. That's a spider right there. Not of anything. She wasn't afraid of the dark. Are you sleeping, Sheila Ray? Said her sister. And she wasn't afraid of thunder and lightning. Oh, her sister is. She wasn't afraid of the big black dog at the end of the block. At dinner, Sheila Ray made believe that the cherries in her fruit cocktail were the eyes of dead bears, and she ate 5 of them. At school, Sheila Ray giggled when the principal walked by, and when her classmate Wendell stole her jump rope during recess, Sheila Ray tied him up until the bell rang. I am very brave, Sheila Ray said, patting herself on the back. Sheila Ray stepped on every crack in the sidewalk without fear. When her sister Louise said there was a monster in the closet, Sheila Ray attacked it. And she rode her bicycle, no-handed, with her eyes closed. Yay, yay, Sheila Ray! Her friends yelled, clapping their hands. One day, Sheila Ray decided to walk home from school a new way. Louise was afraid to. You're too brave for me, said Louise. Oh, you're always such a scaredy cat, Sheila Ray called. I'm not, whispered Louise. Sheila Ray started off skipping. I am brave, I am fearless. She stepped on every crack. She walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures. She climbed up them and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Oh, I saw a picture of Maeve climbing a tree. Sheila Ray walked and turned corners. She crossed streets. And then it suddenly occurred to Sheila Ray that nothing looked familiar. Sheila Ray heard frightening noises. They sounded worse than thunder. She thought horrible thoughts. They were worse than anything she had ever imagined. I am brave, Sheila Ray tried to convince herself. I am fearless. The sounds became more frightening. The thoughts became more horrible. Sheila Ray sat down on a rock and cried. Help, she sniffed. She thought of her mother and father and Louise. Mother, father, Louise, she cried. Here I am, a voice said. There was Louise. Louise, Sheila Ray hugged her sister. We're lost. No, we're not, said Louise. I know the way home. Follow me. Louise stepped on every crack. Louise walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. and she pretended that the trees were evil creatures. She jumped up and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Sheila Ray walked quietly behind her. They walked and walked. They crossed streets. They turned corners. Soon their house could be seen between the trees. Sheila Ray grabbed Louise and dashed up the street. When they reached their own yard and the gate was closed behind them, Sheila Ray said, "Louise, you are brave. You are fearless." "We both are," said Louise, and they walked backwards into the house with their eyes closed. Well, that's a great story about two sisters. So it's good that Maeve and Eloise have that as a nice story to listen to. So we'll see who's going to visit us next time. Maybe not Mr. Elephant. Maybe it'll be Mr. Octopus, or maybe Mr. Squirrel will come back for another story. We'll see. See you soon. Bye.